So let's revise what we have discussed so far, right? So we understand that how to create Pozo class coming to Spring session, right? Out of Spring features, we thought to start Spring core module first. We learned what is Pozo class, how to create object using new keyword in core Java, how to create object using class dot for name, and we understand the benefit of it as well. As Java supporting runtime polymorphism, if I can create object during the runtime using class dot for name, it will benefit us a lot. Easily we can able to change dependencies like how we change sim from 4. That much flexibility we are getting, that we understand. And we understand the importance of framework as well, as framework is providing lot of features in terms of coding, testing, delivery. It will make our job simple so that we can show the skills like a senior guy with the framework features, right? So the Rod Johnson, he started Spring Framework with a lot of beautiful industry standard patterns. He created a framework and still it is up to date. Continuously Spring Framework, Spring Boot evaluating by Pivotal and Red Hat teams. They are improving it day by day. Lot of features they are adding and they are making backend development simple. So that's why people are moving towards a backend development in Spring only. Okay. And coming to IOC containers, this is the first discussion that we started. What is the benefit of these IOC containers? IOC containers will create objects on behalf of developer. Instead of developer you creating objects of your classes, IOC containers will create objects for you. For that, what all we need to do is whatever classes we have implemented, we have to configure them in XML file and we have to load our XML file into IOC container. So as soon as you start your IOC container, it will create objects. If you implement 3 classes objects. If you implement 100 classes, 100 classes objects it will create here. So that whichever object you require, you can get that object using that particular class ID. And you can able to call that particular class methods. Okay. We understand how to create objects of these classes. Instead you creating object, IOC creating it. Good. But whenever I want to talk from one class to another class, if controller wants to talk to business class or business wants to talk to DAO class methods, you need objects of that dependency classes. DAO classes dependency for business, businesses are dependencies for controllers. Whenever you need that objects using dependency injection concept, we can able to inject them as well. Not only objects creation, we can do dependency injection as well. Okay. And we understand that IOC containers are creating objects only one time, singleton. So this is also we realize singleton objects it is creating so that it will consume very less memory and high performance. And I give an example of Swiggy or Zomato. Let's say 1 lakh customers at a time if they request, or throughout the day, let's say 1 million requests I am receiving. But I have only 3 classes: order controller, order business, order DAO. If it is normal core Java approach with new keyword, it will create 1 million objects and it will consume lot of memory and it will degrade your application performance. Whereas if you use IOC, by default it will create every object as a singleton. So it will consume very less memory. Singleton means only one object. Though 1 million users requesting here also, no worries. It is not creating many objects in the backend. Only one object it will create. Only one object it will create for your controller, business and DAO over all three objects. So very less memory is enough in your RAM. It can give better performance. Now, coming to these classes, I have a order controller, order business and order DAO. From here you are placing the order. From here you are placing the order. Or you have a CRUD operation form to save, update, delete and select operations. Basically, right, any application will have 95% of use cases with the save, update, delete, select operations only. Okay, so I want to save some data into database or update, delete, select, let's say students information. For that I want a post method, put method, delete method, get method in controller. Okay, to save post, to update put, to delete, to get select get method. These all are the HTML methods. We will understand them later. Okay, so now from here my controller wants to call business class methods. So business class will become a dependency for my controller. Via dependency injection I can able to inject it. Same way business wants to talk with the DAOs, whereas DAO will have all the CRUD operation methods. So DAO will become dependency for your business class. Same way DAO wants to talk with the database. For that it need connections. So we need a connection pool. So that connection pool will become a dependency to your DAO. So in general, this is how dependency cycle we used to have. DAOs will have connection pool dependencies, business will have DAO dependency, controller will have business dependencies. Okay, so as I have dependencies, I will declare that particular class in my class instance level. I mean, which while creating my class, controller class, I will create business class variable here, DAO class variable here, connection class variable here. Along with that, you need to provide either a setter method or a constructor or annotations. For what? For doing dependency injection. So that your container, after creating of these objects, it can able to inject them automatically. Okay, so that is what we started in dependency injection. In simple lines, I'll explain this dependency injection concept. Okay, because it is very important concept. Dependency injection, DA. Basically, how you can explain dependency injection is, from this example you can understand each and every class of your application is having some dependencies. Passing that dependencies from XML file, we call it as dependency injection. Even we had example also, right? If you look it into example, we have created multiple classes. Okay, so let's understand from connection pool class. Generally, this is how we implement backend to front end. From this layer to first this one, next this, like that we will implement during backend development, right? Most independent one we will create first, then next the dependent of this class, then next the dependent of this class, like that. Okay, so DAO, before DAO I need connection objects. So for connection objects I created a dbcon class with all my required dependencies. Dependency 1 is a driver name, dependency 2 URL, dependency 3 username, password. And to pass this data, driver name, URL, username, password data, I need to have setter methods here or constructor. Okay, we used setter method here, 4 setter methods for 4 variables. Then using that variables, here we are creating connection. Using class dot for name, we are loading the driver name which is injected, and driver manager dot get connection, we are passing URL, username, password, and creating connection object. And whoever calls this get connection, we are giving the same connection object. Then creating DAO class with the CRUD operation method save. Here this class needs a connection before running this query, insert into student. So to insert the student data, I need a connection. So for connection, I need this dbcon class. Dbcon class object is a dependency for me here. So set the dbcon dependency. injecting DB connection object here. Same thing, I am consuming it here. Same way to call the save method of this DAO class, DAO will become dependency now in a business class. Inside business class, my DAO become dependency here. So this DAO also injecting via setter method. Then in this create student method, I am calling DAO unimplemented save method. Whatever inputs I am getting from the user, right? Same inputs passing here, ID name, email address, so that it will save it in database. Then business class becoming a dependency in controller class. In controller class, this business class is a dependency and I am passing it via setter method. And whenever end user call post to student method, I am calling business class create student. So now the flow is whenever somebody call post method will call business class method, business class will call DO class method, and DO getting connections from connection pool class. So this is how we established the communication between them. We established a connection between them. Okay. Now to make it more simple, I'll give you basic example. We see actual real-time example. Okay. So still some of you may have confusion. So to resolve that or to make it simple, I'll give a basic example of dependency injection. Later you can apply this to same real-time example, which already I shared. I think you have practiced it. Okay. So here I have a student class, simple poser class, simple poser class. So in this poser class, I have some variables, private string, name, and email. I want to pass name, email values from a XML file as a dependencies. So if you consider this class is your poser class, student is your poser class, student is your poser class. Maybe it can be a controller, DAO, business, or DAO. So this class, just I'm giving a basic example. Okay, generally poser classes means your controllers or business DAOs in real-time use cases. Okay, so my poser class is having two variable dependencies, dependency 1 and dependency 2. Dependency 1 and dependency 2. So I have dependency 1, dependency 2. Now these two dependencies I want to pass from my XML file, from a Spring XML file. From where? From Spring XML file. From this Spring XML file, I want to pass these two values. Okay, so what I want to pass, name value, name is equal to something I want to pass here, and email value I want to pass here. These two values I want to pass from XML file. How I can pass? Via dependency injection we will pass. How we pass these values from here to here means dependency injection. So I want to inject value from here to here. Okay, I want to fill this data XML in XML, whatever name and email I have, that data I want to load here. Just a minute. Take class, yes. Just a minute. Yeah. So this name and email values I want to pass to the student. So this class can be anything, controller or business or DO. Ignore about it. So to pass these values from here to here, this class either should have, I told you right, multiple options. You should have setter method here or a parameterized constructor here. Parameterized constructor here or annotations. Via annotations also you can able to pass it. Via annotations also you can able to pass it. Via annotations also you can able to pass it. First let's see how to use a setter and constructor based dependency injection. Okay, you can pass this data, right? These two values. You can able to pass them by calling setter method or just by calling parameterized constructor. Two ways we have. If you want to call setter method, in XML file you should use property tag. Okay, tags are different again. For setter method tag is different, for constructor tag is different. Okay, so there is a tag name called property tag. Tag name is called property tag for what? For setter method. For setter method, property tag we will use property. Using property tag you can call setter methods, but that is not same for constructor. For constructor we will use constructor hyphen argument tag. Tags are different. Okay, if you want to call parameterized constructor, we will call constructor argument tag. If you want to call setter method, we will call property tag. Okay, so that's how we inject data from XML file to this class. So what it is benefiting us? Passing data from XML file to Pozo class. What it is benefiting means, if you question yourself how we are benefiting from inserting a SIM card into SIM slot. If you imagine CDMA phone, there is no SIM card. Whatever network they have given, you should use it. You can't change the network. So if you imagine or if you apply the same thing here, I can do any changes later from this slot. If you imagine this as a SIM slot, your XML file, you can open your XML file and do changes according to your new requirement. That is giving you great benefit. That is giving you great benefit. Basically, business will get lot of benefit out of it. In future, if they want to do some changes towards their code, easily they can change. As a developer, during writing code, whenever I find that these dependencies I have, instead I hard coding it. I may hard code them also here. In this example, I may hard code them. While creating connection pool, I may hard code a driver name, URL, username, password. But if I hard code, what will happen? In future, whenever I want to do the changes, I need to disturb entire code. And it is not easy to apply runtime polymorphism also. When I apply hard-coded approach, it is not easy to apply runtime polymorphism. This is dynamic way. This is dynamic way. Dynamically, we can pass them. Dynamically, we are passing them. So the benefit is easy to achieve runtime polymorphism. Easy to achieve runtime polymorphism. Easy to achieve runtime polymorphism. But if I hard code, no runtime polymorphism. No runtime polymorphism, which means you are making in the 2020, you are making CDMA phones, which is very old technology. 30, 40 years before, people used to use CDMA phones, not now. So if you write hard-coded approach, that is like a CDMA phone. You are not up to date and you are not making applications. You may be up to date, but you are not making up to date applications. Your application will become tightly coupled applications. So always remember that this dynamic approach, how it is benefiting us means it is making our classes dynamic so that it is easy to achieve runtime polymorphism, which means I can able to as a business or as a developer, whenever new requirement came and if they ask us to do changes here instead of existing name and email ID, if they want to change, they directly go to XML and they can easily do the changes so that without changing your code, again you can restart application so that new changes will be applied there. So it is easy to maintain application. Yeah, that also we understand. Let's see simple example with the property tag, constructor tag, and as well as other tags also. I'll give you basic examples of dependency injection with all data types. Okay, with all data types. And I will recommend you to do this example from our portal also. Okay, let me open portal and show you before this itself. Okay, let me open and show you HTML. If you go through this link, right, many examples we have just to practice Spring Core. Yeah, Spring Core container example, basic example I given, Bean Factory, and this is J2EE container example, which means application context. This will give you setter dependency example. This will give you constructor dependency example, and more in-depth constructor with the index, constructor with the type, dependency injection of objects, multiple XML files, how to use dependency injection of arrays, collections. Lot of examples I given for dependency injection. See, almost up to 18. From example 3 to 18, 15 plus examples I have given for dependency injection concept only. Okay, yeah. But in a single example, I'll cover them here. One by one, I'll explain each of it. Okay, dependency injection. Okay, first I'll show you with the setter. In real time, are we using it? Means no. If you join any old application which is under maintenance, particularly if you are into banking domain, you will see very old applications. There you can see this old approaches. Okay, so there it will help you a lot. Even if you join very old application also, it helps you a lot. Easily you can able to understand. I'll give you very basic example. Okay, simple package I'm creating, beans. The previous example I have given is real time example. Okay, actual way of dependency injection, how we performed, right? So the last time example which I given business controller and all. But to understand concept wise very in detail, I'm giving very basic example. Okay, so that you can club both together, you can understand everything clear. I am creating a simple student class, just declaring some variables here. Private string name, private int age, data types I'm changing. Please, observe it. Okay, first is string, then next integer. Means something characters I want to inject, and numbers also I want to inject from XML file. Generally, when you see, if you came across core Java, right, properties class, you might have seen to read properties, or by using file input streams, you might have experienced it or not, but you might have read some files, text files, and printed data. But always we read data from file in the form of string. But here Spring is doing dependency injection of any data type. Okay, your class can have simple strings or numbers, and here you can have arrays also. Array also I can pass from XML file. String courses, string array of courses I want to pass. This is array, means multiple values, multiple course values I want to pass. Private int array of fees, each course fees I want to add. Simple strings, simple integer, array kind of string and array integer. Not only that, your class can have collections also. You know, right, how many collections we have? List type collection, list of strings I can pass, like array only. But array will have fixed size, you know the differences. Collections will have dynamic sizing, and collections will allow different type of objects, but I restricted to string only. Okay, so string fruits, and just adding fruits variable may not belongs to student, but for your example, okay, just a list of fruits. One more important collection data type is set. set of cricketers. Private map, we will hold key and value in map. States and capitals. Okay, how many dependencies I have? Dependency 1 is name, dependency 2 is age, dependency 3 is courses, dependency 4 is fees, dependency 5 is fruits, list of fruits, set of cricketer names, map states and capitals like Hyderabad for Telangana, Mumbai for Maharashtra, Bangalore for Karnataka, Chennai for Tamil Nadu. Like I want to add each state and capital names. So 7 dependencies I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the 7 dependencies in how many ways we can pass? First two are old approaches. Okay. Property based, constructor based. I'll give you both examples. Now I want to inject these values using setter methods. So for each variable you need to create one setter method. How to create? Don't hard code while using IDEs, right? Generally without IDE we never write code. Don't hard code. Once after creation of these variables, you can go through for setter methods, right? Lombok API we have. You can use Lombok API that is not belongs to Spring, a different API to generate automatic setter methods, or else you just do right click in your IDE, go to source option, generate getters and setters. Here getters not required, just we need setters only. Select setters. Age, course, cricketers, fees. All setter methods. Generate. When you click on it, it will generate setter methods. How many? 7 setter methods. For name, one setter method. For age, course, fees, fruits, cricketers, and states and capitals. But nowadays we are not generating like this. Without setters also, I'll give you next example. Okay. Which means you need not to write setters. Lombok API is an external API that will generate setters for you. Okay, I'll show you next example with the Lombok. So for our understanding, I am putting just this setter methods name so that you can observe while executing these methods are calling or not. Okay, so course fees next fruits cricketers next next is states capitals. Okay, so these 7 setter methods I want to call from XML and pass the data. Once after passing this data, I want to just to see them, I want to print them. So whatever variables you have in class, to see this variables data, right? Just to see this variables data, one toString method you can generate. Instead of calling via getter methods and printing, you can generate one toString method. Okay, toString method will return all this name, email address, everything whichever you have in your variables. Now I want to pass this data from XML file. Okay, create a XML, or let me copy one XML file here. Resources. I always do copy paste. More than writing, I do copy paste of XMLs because it is having sensitive DTD, right? I used to copy paste it. Now just make it according to your example. Between beans and beans, how many beans I have, how many classes we have? Only one student, right? Configure that student class here using bean type, class name, student. Fully qualified path means package name dot class, and give one ID. If you wish to give ID, give one ID here. Okay, now dependency injection job start here. As a developer, you need to pass them here. My student class is having 7 dependencies. I should pass them. What are they? Name, age, course, fees, fruits, cricketers, and states and capitals. Pass them here. So to call each setter method, you need to use one tag called property. And it is asking property name. What is your property name? My property name is name. Okay. What do you want to pass into it? Pass a value here. Pass a value here. Pass self-ending, or you can have like this also. XML tags we can close with the same tag name or self-ending also. Okay. Anything would be fine. Okay. Name I given. Next variable email. Next variable courses. Oh, sorry, email we don't have. Age only we have, right? Age, which is number. For number also you can use simple value, and you can use value here. Courses. Courses is not a simple type. It is a array type. Array means multiple values. In general, how we will pass array values? If it is a direct Java, string array is equal to new string array of, like this we will create, and we will pass values here. Course names, spring, hibernate. Like this we will pass. With a new keyword we will create object and we create array. But here you need not to do that. If you want to pass string array of values, you can pass happily here. Between property and property tag, they have given one list tag. To pass array of values, given list tag. So you can pass values here. Value 1, use spring, hibernate, Azure. So like this you can enter whatever values you want into string array. Good. And what next? Integer, fees, same story. List of fees you can pass here. Integer numbers you can give directly here. Spring, some values you can pass here. Integer array of values. Now you can pass list of fruits. Fruit names I want to pass. List of fruits. Again property tag. Fruits. Same for array, like how you used list tag. For list also you can use same list tag. For list also you can use same list tag. You can pass fruits here. A for apple, mango, banana, orange. You can pass any values here. List of fruits. Set of cricketers. Set of cricketers I want to pass. Use the same property tag, but list and set is having one minor difference. List will allow duplicate. If you enter again apple, it will allow. Whereas set will not allow duplicates. So for set you should not use list tag. Instead you should use set tag. For list tag, for set tag only we have. So you can pass cricketers names here. Kohli, Rohit, Sachin, Sehwag. You can pass set of cricketers. If you try to duplicate also, it will not allow. Let me put duplicate apple here, and let me put duplicate Kohli here. Duplicate Kohli not allowed. When you print cricketers, it will give you four values only. Fifth value not allowed because set will not allow duplicate. But whereas fruits, again apple also will add. List allows duplicates. Cool. How to pass map values when I have key and value pair? That is also simple. Map of states and capitals I want to pass. We can pass it. States and capitals. But here you should use map tag. Earlier we used the set tag, list tag. Now map tag. Between map, inside map generally how we will add values. If you remember, map dot put will pass key and values. First we'll give key and then value. TS Hyderabad like this. Put key and value like this we can put. So here also we need to give key and value. So for that we have a tag name called entry. In this entry tag, it will allow key and as well as value also. We can pass key and as well as value also. TS HY state and capital. Tamil Nadu, Chennai, MH, Mumbai, K, value. Like this you can enter any number of keys and values. Key should not be duplicated. You know, right? Map will not allow duplicate key. If I allow TS again, if I enter, it will override the existing value again. Okay. So duplicates are not allowed. If you wish to add, you can add for testing, but yeah, duplicates are not allowed in map also. Okay. If you see now, I understand that anything I can pass from XML file. So I need not to hard code. While designing my classes or while writing my classes, I need not to hard code anything. As a developer, when you feel that, don't hard code it. If I hard code it, it will become tightly coupled. Let me pass that value dynamically. When you think that, okay, you can pass anything, everything from XML file to your class. Now see, let's print it. If it allowed means, you should able to print it. If it not allowed means you will be seeing errors. So I am loading this XML now into IOC class. IOC main class. Main class. Application context if equal to new class path XML application context. Load your XML into this container. Sources slash SMS hyphen spring.xml. Now ask for your object. Container will create object and it will do dependency injection with ID student. Call it. Now just to print student object, it will call toString method internally, and whatever data you have given as an input, all the data it will show you when you print it here. Okay, so what it is doing step by step, if I try to explain, when you try to load your XML file here, right, this is container. Your container job, it need to create object for your classes. So it will read your XML file first. Okay, it will go to XML and it will read it. How many beans we have? Only one bean, which is student. So first thing, IOC container will create your student object at line number 10. After that, next what it will do, it will check if you have any dependencies here. It will check if you have any dependencies here. So yes, via property tag, you mentioned lot of dependencies. So what it will do, it will pass each dependency. Name it will pass, age, course, fees, fruits, cricketers, all these values. It will enter all these values to your object. Whatever object it will create for you, right? Into the same object by calling each setter method, it will pass the remaining data also. So by the time when you get your object is fully ready with your dependencies as well. So now when you run and print it at line number 12, if you see all your setter methods calling, set name called, age called, course, fees, fruits, cricketers, states and capitals. Everything input injected. Let me show you this output here. So this is your output. Name was injected, age 25 injected, courses Spring View, Hibernate to Azure, AWS injected, and fee if you see fee details injected. Fruits apple, mango, banana, orange, and again apple duplicate also showing. Cricketers Kohli, Rohit, Sachin, Sehwag, and another Kohli duplicate not allowed because it is map type. States and capitals, each state name and capital. So all this data comfortably it is injecting into your class. So what we can understand from this example, we can pass any type of data to our class. We can pass any type of data. Your class can have strings, integers, arrays, collections, whatever you have. And in last example, in real-time example, we learned how to inject objects also. In last example, we injected objects also. We created dbcon class object and that object we injected using a reference attribute. Then do object we injected using reference attribute. Why I was using reference earlier? Because they all are object types. These all are object types. Object types are allowed with the reference tag. And these all are simple properties. That's why I'm using values only. Okay. Yeah. So this is how we can pass any value. Imagine anything that you can pass from your XML file to your class using setter method. We did that. Okay. So now when somebody asks what is dependency injection, you can say injecting dependencies to your class. Injecting dependencies to your class or passing dependency values to your class from XML file is called dependency injection. Whatever dependencies you have, you can pass from XML file. That is what dependency injection is all about. And if somebody asks what is the use of it, you can explain the entire dynamic story. The use of it is you are making your class dynamic, so it is easy to do changes anytime from the XML file. So it is easy to achieve runtime polymorphism, so that flexibly you can remove any layer and you can add new layer. Example, you can say giving SIM card to phone or removing a wheel from car or a bike and adding a new wheel. A kind of runtime polymorphism only. It is giving you comfort to remove the things easily and attaching the new things. So it is easy to me to change. Student, if I want to change here, I can. Yeah, JSON also you can pass. JSON file also you can pass. Okay, you can pass. I think we can try that. Good question. Nobody asked me about JSON, but yeah, I believe everything we can pass. Okay, so you can change anything here and we can run it comfortably. It will change the values without disturbing your class. That is the beauty of dependency injection. Okay, Now let me give you in the same example itself one more class student or employee B. I'm creating employee B, which is having almost similar data. Okay, similar data. But here I don't want to use setter methods. Let's remove all the setter methods. The next approach is parameterized constructor. I understand that for each variable I need to create one setter method for name, age, course, fees, fruits, perimeters, and states capitals. Instead of that many setter methods, I want to pass all these values in a single go at a time. How I can do that? You can have a parameterized constructor here. You can generate constructor using fields. A big parameterized constructor. Employee constructor with name, age, course, fees, fruits, everything together at a time. System.out.println parameter constructor. How many params we have? 7 parameters. All these 7 parameters in a single go also you can pass. Is it? Yes. Go to XML, create one more bean. Okay. Employee bean class. Now you understand that instead of property tag we can use constructor argument tag. Yes. Here you can use constructor argument tag instead of property tag. Now let's see alternate for this tag here. Instead of property tag, we need to remove it. Okay. So instead of property tag, you can use constructor argument tag. Okay. So only value you should pass. No need of key. Name. You need not to tell that I am passing this Vinod to name. You need not to pass because while using constructor argument, exact order like how order you have here, right? First is name, next is age, next is courses array, next is fees array. In the same order you should pass them. So as you are following the order, you need not to mention this. But in property tag, you need to compulsory give this key. Though you follow order or don't follow order, it will not say anything. It will not give any error because you are using name and values. But in constructor case, it is different. You don't have any keys. Just you need to pass all the values directly. Okay. Age 30. Remove this tag. Next argument, courses. Values we should pass. You need not to give name of the variable. Directly you can give all this. Then remove this property tag. Just see the difference. One more constructor argument. List of fees. One more constructor argument. List of fruits. Just if you see, only these names are avoiding. Keys need not to give. Otherwise, remaining story is same. Same story. Map. Same thing. Instead of using property tag, using constructor argument tag. And we are passing exactly same order. Without missing order, we are passing it. Same thing. You can fetch your employee object as well and print it. Run it. Don't worry about it. So there we called it. So setter methods calling of student. Coming to employee, all employee things. ToString method. Employee class. Okay. So just employee class 7 parameterized constructor called, and all your values given to employee class as well. When it printed, employee name, age, everything it is showing. Same thing with employee as well. But instead of, if you see the class, right, instead of having 7 setter methods, I have only one 7 parameterized constructor. That is the only difference. So you can pass values via setter methods or via constructor also. Okay, no much difference. The only difference is instead of calling them independently, we can pass everything together. And it is, you should remember that it is mandatory that you should follow order while giving values, right? You should follow the order. And if you are crazy and if you want to change the order, if you ask a question how I can change the order, you can change it. To change the order, we have given index parameter. Index 0. Generally, if you follow the index, the name is index 0, the age is index 1, and the next course is index 2, index 3. If you put the index and if you change the order, no issue. Put the index and shuffle the order if you want. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I give an index. I can shuffle the order. I can put this index of 6 1 in between. So entirely order changed. Name, age, the next course fees. The next I give a states and capital. The next I am giving fourth index and fifth index values. So if you use index, then need not to worry. If you give index, you can shuffle the order. You will be getting them into same variables. But without index, if you change the order and if data types are not matching, then it will give you errors. So when you want to change the order, keep the index and change the order. It's okay to change the order. Otherwise, changing order will give you errors in case of constructor. But what about setters? You can change the order. You can play with it. First you can pass courses, then next case, then next name. Because here you have particularly a key. It will not confuse about your dependencies. Whereas in constructor, careful. Okay, use index if you want to shuffle the order. Okay, yeah. Today we'll stop till here and tomorrow we'll continue further. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue further and see more about dependency injection. I hope you understand it. Okay, if you have any questions also you can ask me. Okay.